The discussions around my Brave browser tryout video went surprisingly well, so we're trying out FireFox today, as ridiculous as that sounds, because FireFox has been around a long time. I was a Netscape Navigator user, and after Netscape Navigator kind of bit the dust, I switched to FireFox and used FireFox for a very, very long time, including having a portable FireFox build when portable apps were all the rage before everything was web synced. I had a 1 gigabyte flash drive with portable FireFox loaded up on it, tuned to hell and back, all my bookmarks, all my cookies, all my themes and everything. And I lived on that thing at school, at home, for years until Google Chrome came out. And then I just switched. I switched and never really looked back. I've always kept FireFox installed. I use it for certain things, like keeping a separate YouTube music profile that I don't need to swap my YouTube accounts for and blah, blah, blah. But a lot of the features that they originally implemented, like account syncing and things like that, were just not super great whenever I last looked into them, and now they're apparently a lot better. And so I don't like, this kind of junk when we just start. So we're gonna try it out. This is mostly fresh. I have tweaked a couple things. I'm gonna go through my recommendations. We're gonna go a little more advanced than the Brave video. I'm gonna go through my setup process and first impressions, but again, I've used this for years at one point. But I'm also gonna give tips and ideas of what I want. So I've already signed in with my FireFox account, so that I can sync it to mobile, my iPad, things like that. And so that's pretty cool. But I haven't really tweaked much else. And that's on purpose so that we can go through it. So whenever you first launch it, you're greeted with the FireFox new tab page, which all the browsers are doing their own these days. It used to be more common to do your own. I would love to build out my own at some point instead of relying on others, but I would like to swap this. We have a settings button over here so that we can customize what is here, including turning off the recommendations and sponsored stuff, which I obviously do not want. That's a little more simple, but I would certainly like to just replace it entirely. I don't know if new tab pages are still a thing. Sponsored shortcuts. Ugh, so gross, but it's an option. I can turn it off. People did not like that I didn't give Brave enough credit for everything being disableable, but when it was literally everything they changed being something I wanted to disable, I don't like it. All right, right up here, new tabs, homepage and new tab. All right, custom URL. For now, we're going to use startpage.com, and I'll show you that in a minute. You can't set a custom URL for new tabs? That doesn't seem right. All right, we're just going to close this and refresh. Home. So if I go to new page, it can't just go home. Browsers used to be able to do that. Get recently closed tabs back with FireFox View. Plus seamlessly hop between devices and add a splash of... Sure. Say hello to FireFox View. You want to open a tab on your phone? Grab it. Need that site you just visited? Poof, it's back with FireFox View. Isn't that just Control-Shift-T? See how it works. Yes, that sounds nice. I can kind of do that in Chrome. It's obnoxious, but I can. Get your closed back tabs in a snap. I like that. That's fine. Add a splash of color. You can choose the shade that speaks to you with colorways only in FireFox. FireFox is absolutely not the only one that lets you customize colors, but... Oh, it's just a random icon that changes based on themes. I guess like the Google things. I don't know. This is weird. FireFox Home is now your homepage. I like this. That's not... Immediately they're like, hey, don't set another homepage. I hate it when browsers do that. All right, we're gonna install the extension. Obviously now we need to set a new homepage. Start page. Okay. I can't believe you can't change. Like, that's insane. I'll set it to FireFox Home, but truly that is insane that you can't set a custom page for new tab. Especially because that was 100% a feature in almost every browser before. Just irks me. All right. New tab takes us to this with the FireFox View thing, although I don't... No, FireFox View is only on the home page. Well, this is the home... I don't... We'll figure that out later. All right, add to FireFox. Sure. So FireFox is a browser that has extension support, just like Chrome and every other browser, only it is a different extension kind of system. So you won't have one-to-one translations of every extension over, or, plugin, whatever, which is unfortunate. They did move from their old plugin system, which I did use a ton back in the day. Yes, change your default search engine. That is fine. Okay. So now it doesn't matter so much. Actually, yeah. If this is the only Like, I assumed we could add things to it. Yeah, at some point, and we can have a conversation about this on Discord or on Mastodon or something. At some point, I want to look into a service that lets me build my own new tab page, although Firefox won't let me switch to it. But, you know, my own little page that can have things that I curate and not just sponsored stuff. But at the time, it's fine. You want to hide promotional messaging, that kind of stuff, that's fine. Although I don't think those were advertisements. I think that was just stuff about their own privacy stuff. But whatever, that's fine. All right, so theoretically, I don't need to set that as the homepage anyway, because if I search, it's searching through start page, which is what I want. Start page basically is just a proxy for Google. They do still have advertisements. You can tweak that or block those as you want, but they don't track you. So that is the important part. I don't necessarily like the theming of this, but that's fine. I don't like not having previews either, but we'll get used to it. All right, so that means I can go back and change my homepage. I don't need that to be a custom one anymore. Firefox Home. All right, so we're making progress on getting set up here. That is the goal, is just to walk through, setting things up, trying everything. Pocket is something I will probably use a ton. I think I used it back in the day. It was Pocket and another like reading specific one. All right, so this is for start page. We got some privacy scoring for different websites, whether privacy protection is turned on per site. So it's kind of it's a tracker blocker. Cool. You might prefer to use uBlock Origin, you know, what have you. That's fine. We're just trying this out. Let's explore settings some more, because obviously a web browser is a web browser. You got your URL bar, back, forward, refresh. You got your bookmarks up top, which you can manage and hide, that kind of thing. Let's take a look at settings, because I was taking a peek at it before I decided to start recording, and I was really liking what I was seeing. So obviously default check, I will probably switch to that, but it's fine. I enabled Control tab to cycle through tabs in recently used order. Open links in new tabs instead of windows as default. I uncheck or leave unchecked switching automatically to a new tab, because I like just opening up, you know, stuff from like list pages in the background and leaving it there. Confirm before closing multiple tabs I checked, because I don't want to accidentally close my whole window and it just erase everything. That kind of thing. However, there is the startup option that I checked for opening the previous windows and tabs, which is something that I prefer in case I do accidentally close a window, because I keep a lot of tabs open. I rarely just want to close everything and not have it open back up. And then I also enabled show tab previews in Windows taskbar, so that when you hover over it, you get to see tab previews, although we don't have any pulled up. So if we pull up multiple tabs, we can now get separate. Just like the older Edge and Internet Explorer used to be able to do, Firefox can now enable that, which is great. You got basic appearance between light and dark theme. I just have it set to auto, that's fine. We can look at themes in a moment, because I do like that. You can override colors and fonts, which I love and will tweak kind of separately. Default zoom, I'm gonna boost this up to, that is way too much. Probably just 120. I like keeping it zoomed in more for videos than myself, but I do have some eye things that I like keeping things zoomed in for. Download locations. I'm actually going to stick to defaulting to downloads just to help me sandbox files a little bit better. In most browsers, I have it set to ask me every time, but I get really annoyed when it goes to a folder that I don't want it to. So whatever. This tells you how it can automatically open stuff. So like image files for AVIF, I have it set to just open in Firefox instead of asking to save, which is fine, because usually I just want to preview it and then I can save it from there. You can fine tune specific extensions, whether they open it or automatically save, which I really like. You can block DRM controlled content, which isn't super useful, but if you really just want to be anti-DRM, you do have that option available to you. You have options to automatically install updates when it's not running. Of course, I'm always going to have it running, because that's how I use web browsers these days, so You can use a background service for it or not, which will help reduce your bloat. I'm actually going to set it to manual. I like the idea of that, like, especially since I always have my browser open anyway. Let's reduce background services and just let me manually toggle it. Love it. Use performance tuning. Sure. Auto scrolling, smooth scrolling, blah, 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 blah. Most of that is fine. You can set up, you know, proxies and whatever down here. Home. We already looked at some of that. Home content. Okay, here we can customize a little bit. So we got web search, we got shortcuts. For now, we're going to do 2 rows because we don't have a whole lot over here. Recent activity, I do like. So downloads, pages saved, bookmarks, visited pages, and snippets, tips, and news from Mozilla FireFox. I don't know if I like that. All right. So we don't have any at the moment. if it seems to be stuff I don't want. We can uncheck it later. Eventually I will set up Pocket a little bit better, and maybe the recommendations will work great, but I don't really want that right now. You can adjust search, so you can have a separate search bar. That used to be a thing back in the day. It's completely pointless now, because your URL bar will always search anyway. Like literally there's still a search icon there, but it's fine. You can customize your search engines. Search suggestions. So search suggestions in private windows, you might want that. I leave it unchecked. Search shortcuts. I didn't know that was a thing. That's kind of neat. You can install more search engines. If you don't like the defaults and you don't want to install the plugin, you have lots of others here. You can search by image. TinyEye reverse image search, lots of image searches. Removes annoying link conversions on Google search. Web archives. It'll search multiple archive things, which is actually kind of cool. Actually, this is just getting into overall extensions, not just search engines, because now we got emoji and things like that. And Giphy. Actually, that's kind of cool. We're going to add that. We'll cover extensions more and more later, but yeah. Privacy and security. Blocks social media, tracking cookies, private cookies, tracking content in private windows, crypto miners, fingerprinters. And you can test their new cookie blocker. Strict blocks even more. All right, it looks like strict just blocks more, but might break websites. And then the custom mode lets you fine tune things. That's fine. You can have it automatically delete cookies and site data when Firefox is closed, which is kind of neat. I'm gonna try that. That will log you out of everything though. Yeah, I don't know if I want that. Logins and passwords, it's gonna autofill. You can use a primary password as a master password for your Firefox saved passwords. You should probably do that. That way it's protected, in case someone just grabs onto your Firefox and starts trying to download all your passwords. Huh. Windows single sign-on, autofill credit cards and addresses. I'm going to uncheck those because that gets me into trouble. I don't want it to do that ever. And actually, yeah, don't do that. Just always turn that off. Firefox will remember browsing and download history, remember search and form history. Yeah, I'm good with that. Address bar, suggest, browsing history, bookmarks, open tab, shortcuts, search engines. That sounds fine. Suggestions from web sounds fine. Suggestions from sponsors does not. You can adjust permissions for access to your stuff. Data collection, run studies. You can uncheck these if you want. Block dangerous downloads. Yeah. Oh, it has HTTPS only mode so that you don't have to use an extension for that. Very rad. All right, sync stuff. So this is the stuff that I wanted before. So we're gonna... I already signed in. It's going to sync bookmarks, history, open tabs, logins and passwords, add-ons, and settings. I like this a lot. You can also sync your addresses and credit cards, but I have it not saving that. And then links to download Firefox Mobile, as well as Mozilla VPN. No thanks for now. All right, I really dig these settings. Right-clicking a tab, just browsing, other UI options. You do have pin tab options, which I use very religiously. So that is important. You got normal, close, open tabs, reopen previous tab, duplicate tab. That's pretty cool. So otherwise, this is fairly standard browser stuff, of course, only it's rated to be one of the most, private browsers. Like, Brave was one of the most private Chromium-based browsers, which is sad because it's not all that private, but it's best for Chromium. Firefox is rated to be like the most private of all browsers. And so, without any crypto stuff, without any too funky stuff. Now, obviously, the way you use the internet affects that. We can have more of those conversations later. But I'm liking where this is going so far. So as a demo of the FireFox View thing, you can now view tabs from your other devices. I've signed in on my iPad using, the same account. And over on my iPad, I now have a tab pickup option where I can pick up this just basic Reddit homepage tab that I had on my desktop, open it up here on iPad, and I am ready to go. And then if I browse to a specific subreddit, I will just go to television. If I refresh the page, I can now just pull that tab over here and start using it. Although that just went to the normal homepage, but you get the idea. You can literally drag it into your tabs if you want, or just click it to open it. So there's some functionality there. I have seen some articles that say you can just right-click a tab and send it. Oh, it is there now. Okay, so once you've relaunched the browser after you've signed into multiple devices, you can right-click your tab and send it to all of your other devices you're signed in on and opened on at the same time, which is actually pretty wild. So if I go to the gaming subreddit, right-click, send to device, FireFox on iPad, it should open up. There we go. It takes a second. I really hope I don't know if it's my network being funky. I don't know what the bottleneck there is. I would love if they could pick that up a little bit, because that was very delayed. But functionally, that is incredible, especially if I get FireFox going on all of my devices as my replacement browser. That is huge. So I love that. A couple other niche little features here that you can do. Right-click, take a screenshot. Basically, ShareX's kind of detection, or, rectangle, or you can take a full page. Built in, along with, I use a whole separate Chrome extension to take a full page screenshot. And this just has it built in. That is freaking wild. I love that. We already talked about Pocket, which we will explore potentially in a future video. Let me know if you want to see that. You've got picture-in-picture for videos. Obviously, YouTube kind of supported this, but it usually just does picture-in-picture on itself, which isn't super great. But if we pull up, oh hey, I'm logged into my Analog Dreams channel. Nice. We'll pull up my video then. Pop out this video. Boom. But you go to another tab, and you get to keep watching your video. And you can control volume, pop back to the tab that it's in. That's really cool. I dig that a lot. FireFox also has a built-in eyedropper. So you go to the hamburger menu, more tools, and there is an eyedropper. And I assume you can assign a keyboard shortcut to this, because that would be way easier. And then you can pick any color. Hex code copied to your clipboard. If we paste it, we get the hex code. Again, another thing I used an extension before with other browsers. Another cool little trick that has been recommended to me is going to about config, just kind of like you would do with Chrome stuff. I know that you could break stuff, and then you can start modifying specific preferences. So with this one, we are going to reduce the RAM usage when FireFox is minimized. I don't want to mess with it when FireFox is open, because that could cause some issues, but basically what this does is just dumps your FireFox RAM usage to swap whenever you minimize the browser, because you're not using it. And everything says that you don't really notice it once you do that. So we are going to show all. I am looking for the option to add a new one. I don't see that option, so we are going to search for config.trim _on_minimize. And we want a Boolean for that, so we'll click the plus to add a new one, and we want it set to true. And so now when you have to relaunch FireFox, but whenever you minimize it, it will try to use, not use your RAM for it, which is pretty rad, honestly. All right, lastly, for the basic setup and like cool little tricks or whatever, I want to import my bookmarks, of course, from Google Chrome, since that's where I had everything stored. So I'm going to go to the hamburger menu, to bookmarks, and then manage bookmarks. I'm just going to take you to its own window instead of a tab, which I don't know how I feel about, but it's a very kind of deep interface if it's still as good as I remember from back in the day. We go to import and backup. Import data from another browser. Chrome, next. You can choose which ones you want from that. I'm gonna say all of it. That's fine. Be sure the selected browser is closed before continuing. Well, I didn't do that, but that's fine. We got everything. All right, now we have our bookmarks toolbar with everything on there. We have our bookmarks menu, which is the separate layer, which would just be other bookmarks for FireFox. And we now have a populated bookmark bar. We're gonna delete the getting started one. And of course, there are no fave icons yet until we click them all, which is fine. So now I am set up mostly as a Chrome replacement. What we are missing are my extensions. Now, Firefox has a thorough extension system. Like I said, it used to be a plugin system. They have improved it a fair bit since back in the day. And they have a lot of options to choose from, which can be kind of overwhelming. We're going to look at the recommended and top rated ones real super quick, just to get an idea of what, like, I guess it thinks everyone wants to use. So we're just going to open these in a bunch of new tabs so we can take a look. And then I'm going to go through my recommendations myself. So the top 9, or actually that's top 12 extensions that Firefox recommends off the bat is clippings, save frequently entered text for pasting later. So this would be like auto hotkey text completion for just stuff you type a lot. For me, I'm not going to get a whole lot of use out of that, so I'm not going to use it, but that's kind of neat. Those are very common tools. Foxy tab, collection of tab-related actions. Duplicate, close duplicates, close to the left, copy title, merge windows, save as PDF, copy URLs, tab, all blah, 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 blah. Looks like a lot of functionality. But I personally feel like Firefox does a great job with what I would use, but it's cool that you even have the flexibility to add in those options. The icon looks dumb, but that's fine. Canvas blocker, looks like it just blocks some JavaScript things from fingerprinting you. If you're worried about that, go ahead. Pocket tube, best way to manage your subscriptions on YouTube. Interesting. Create group collections lists. I know that's been a big feature request for YouTube for years. Group YouTube subscription channels to collection groups. Oh, that's kind of neat. If you subscribe to a lot of channels, you can organize them better. I'm not personally worried about it, but that is awesome. That is really awesome. I know, like I said, has been a feature request for YouTube forever. So that's huge. Bitwarden is a free password manager. All the password managers at the moment seem to be super controversial, so I'm not going to state one way or another on Bitwarden specifically. You all can chime up in the comments with your thoughts there, because it seems like everyone has something to say about it. So it's there. It also has LastPass and other ones if you want those. Sponsor blocks, skip sponsorships on YouTube. Screw this, seriously. Decentralize. Protects you against tracking through free centralized content delivery. Prevents a lot of requests from reaching networks like Google hosted libraries and serves local files to keep sites from breaking. Fascinating. It's a local CDN emulation. This is worth a deep dive on its own at some point, but that's pretty neat. Return YouTube dislike, screw that as well. Minimal theme for Twitter. It's actually kind of neat if you're still on there. Unhook, remove YouTube recommended videos comments. Oh, hide YouTube related videos, comments, and video suggestions. Homepage recommendation. What? Remove distractions on YouTube, aka remove YouTube. I mean, you get control over it, so I guess for people with focusing issues, that's fine, but like, these days, most of my viewing comes from suggestions. It's really good these days. But if you're using the other extension to juggle your, to manage your subscriptions into groups and all of that, it might be kind of nice. Tab stash. Organize batches of tabs as bookmarks. That is something I 100% need, as many of you all know. We're going to add that to Firefox now. That sounds great. I don't want it to run in private menu or mode. Oh, we get a whole sidebar for it. Rad. It will make a lot more sense if we bring over my tabs from Chrome, which I'm not sure there's a function for, but hey, you can move it to the right. You have stash, create a group, close all unstashed tabs, close all stashed tabs, close all open tabs. Fascinating. That might be very helpful for my tab management. I'm going to try it out. And then we have some others that I want to recommend, including some recommended by those of you on Discord. So first is uBlock Origin, which is what I use. I'm not sure how redundant that is. But I use uBlock as a kind of case-by-case basis and remove it on a lot of sites. So I think this combined with Firefox just kind of will give you some fine-tuned controls. There's also one called Language Tool, which appears to be similar to Grammarly, only it's free, and you don't need a subscription service. Supports 25 languages, works on just about any site. As a literal trained writer and copy editor, I don't always need this, but I do a lot of just super fast writing when I'm sleepy and blah, blah, blah. And so having something to just catch things, ironically, it's most problematic when I'm writing video scripts, not writing information to other people, but when I'm writing video scripts and I end up reading them back and there's a bunch of typos because I was just trying to, get them out. So we're just going to do English for now. I might add Spanish and Korean later. Start using language tool. Does not work with text fields in the Chrome Web Store or FireFox extensions. That's fine. All right, cool. So it just helps correct your grammar, your writing, those kinds of things. Maybe it'll make me better. There's another cool free one, which I will probably remove this after a while, but I wanted to try it out, called SEO Quick. Now, obviously, search engine optimization isn't super important these days, and this actually says it's not actually monitored by security from Mozilla, so maybe don't, but it was recommended. Helps you kind of measure your SEO on certain things without using a specific website plugin. I'm actually going to not install it for now. There's another one here called Tranquility Reader, which helps put articles into reading mode instead of distraction mode, which I am a huge fan of. I have a lot of trouble reading articles on websites now because of the way they're set up. I will allow it in private. So that one's pretty cool. There is Tomato Clock, which allows you to set up a Pomodoro timer within your browser, which I am going to work on implementing this upcoming year. So I am interested in trying it. Just basically a way to manage your time. There is another tab manager. I'm not going to use it since we just installed the other one, but called Tree Style Tab. And this one just gives you like a tree view for your tabs, so you can navigate them a little bit easier if that's what you're kind of into. I do like the YouTube enhancer plugins. Sometimes they are useful, sometimes they are not. I believe this one is one that lets you set default playback quality and stuff like that. Yep. I like that kind of stuff because it's very annoying switching videos back and forth to different quality modes and things like that. It will add some buttons to your player if you want, which is obnoxious, but you can actually fine tune them, which is awesome. Freaking love this. Here's the enhancer for YouTube options. You can keep dark theme or YouTube deep dark. That would be interesting to try. We'll just do normal deep dark. Interesting. You can do custom themes for YouTube. There's ads, don't like that. All right, here's your video player controls. You've got loop mode. I don't really have a use for that. You've got stop as an option. I do actually like that for tabs that I open but don't want it to keep buffering in the meantime because I'll come back to it super later. Reverse order on a playlist. Useful for playlists that don't get organized correctly, which happens a lot. Volume booster could be useful. Remove channel to from the whitelist. I'm assuming that's for a sponsor block kind of thing. Yeah, because there's skip or remove ads. I'm actually going to turn that off. Toggle cards and end screens. I'll just leave those on. That's fine. Toggle video filters. Neat. We will play with that. Increase playback speed. You can go even faster than... Interesting. We'll just leave those unchecked though. Pop-up player. We're already using that built into Firefox. Expand or shrink the viewport. I like that. We're going to leave that on. Cinema mode. Flip the video. Not sure the use case for that, but that's cool. Built-in screenshot. I like that. Click to display a list of keyboard shortcuts. That's pretty neat. You can do custom scripts. You can also open the options page. Okay, I do like this. Place controls within the video player. Keep them visible. I do like that a lot. You don't need a bar for it. I'm going to uncheck block ads. Automatic playback quality. Yes. Max quality. Max quality. For embed, we'll do 1440p. Entering full screen mode, max quality. I don't know how you'd have the pop-up player for full screen mode, but sure. 1440p. Default playback speed. Ooh, yes. 1.4. Ooh, we get more granular speeds as well. Very nice. Default volume level. I'm gonna not mess with that. Disable autoplay. Yes. Prevent videos from being loaded in background tabs. Yes, 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 yes. From automatically playing. Prevent videos loaded in foreground tab from automatically playing. I like that sometimes. I'm not gonna bother right now. Do not prevent autoplay for playlists. Actually, I do want it to prevent that. Completely stop videos instead of only preventing autoplay. Yes. Pause videos playing in background tabs when a video starts playing in foreground tabs. Holy sh... Yeah, yeah. Force the use of standard frame rates instead of high frame... Ugh, no. Force the use of MP4 instead of web... No. Bad. Launch a mini player when scrolling to read comments. Sure, we'll make that big. Top right corner. Automatically apply video filters. Well, I don't really know what the... Okay, so this is really nice. This is really nice. Okay, if that's 360, then that's the one I want to use because that pop-up player was big. No, that was... Never mind. Automatically expand. Automatically enable theater mode. Use available space. Automatically expand descriptions. Yes. Automatically sort comments newest Otis. Yes. Or you could just hide comments in chat, which frankly recommend. You could hide YouTube shorts. Convert shorts. Yes. Oh, this is nice. This is way nicer than the old YouTube enhancer style plugin I used to use. The last extension I wanted to look at was recommended by Greg in our Discord server. Multi-account containers. It lets you keep separate accounts for different websites and manage them at the same time. Separates website storage into tab-specific containers. With someone with a bunch of different YouTube accounts and different accounts for different websites, this sounds incredible. So we're going to install that. Add. Okay. Let's find our option for it. Get started. Color coding, separate container tabs. Yes. This is mind-blowing. Right-click inside a container tab to assign the site to always open in the container. Container tabs when you need them. This is wild. And we're going to sync them. All right. And you do have to enable the Mozilla VPN option so that it can leverage that, which is however you want. But now if we go to YouTube, we can click the container option. We have personal, work, banking, shopping, or you can make your own. Open a new container tab. I believe you can make your own containers, right? How do I get Mozilla VPN? We did, right? Oh, you gotta like actually, oh, forget that for now. Manage containers. New container. EposVox. That one will be pink. And that icon will be money. Okay. New container. Analog Dreams. That one will be purple. The icon will be a present. Sure. Okay. All right, so this account is Analog Dreams. Open a new container tab, Analog Dreams. All right, so this is the Analog Dreams. Ooh, okay. So then you got to sign in from scratch because it is starting you effectively on a new, VPN isolated profile. That's all fine. I am liking this. All right, so now we have a container tab. It even says Analog Dreams up there. And I am logged into it. We have lost my pin tabs across closing. I don't know if that's on purpose or not. All right, so now if I go to YouTube Studio, it's going to be in that container. So if I pin the tab, it's purple and it's in there. So now if I right click, open a new container tab, EposVox, I have to sign in again, which will like be annoying to set up in the first place, but once you're used to it, would be totally fine. Like once you're already set up. And now I can switch accounts because I don't want to be on that one. I will be on this one. And now both of these tabs are pinned. So now if I close, how do I want to open new tab, open EposVox tab, youtube.com. I'm signed in there. Hold click new tab, open new Analog Dreams tab, youtube.com. And I'm signed in on Analog Dreams. That is huge. This is amazing. It will take a long time for me to get set up with that. But holy, okay, I am loving this. Oh, they're back. Okay, so this one's the Analog Dreams one. Does it take me to the right channel? It does. This is the EposVox one. It does. Huzzah! I love this. Okay. That is huge. That is huge. All right. Last step for customization is themes. Now, unfortunately, most of the top themes just have big, obnoxious Firefox logo foxes built in, which I cannot stand. So I may look into making my own super cursed one at some point. But here are the ones I picked out here. We've got a rainbow pastel action going on. We got a little sci-fi wire grid thing. We got, you know, cherry blossoms. We got purple night theme. But this one's supposed to be animated. We're going to start with this one. Install theme. And there's tons of themes you can explore. Okay. Oh, it is animated. You got little stars in the background. That's sick. All right, I'm here for it. We can check out all these others. That one's just like a generic dark theme ad. I think you can install multiple and then switch between them. We'll check that out in a moment. I don't like this one at all. We already installed that one. Purple night theme. Oh, this one's animated too. Very cool. All right, we'll take a look at the differences between them too. This is an animated Sakura theme. That's not bad, honestly, for what it is. Animated blue plexus. Not bad either. Very minimal though. I don't like all the black over here. We got sci-fi. Not animated, but very cool. Ooh, and a cyberpunk animated one. It's a little distracting and not super legible, but kind of cool regardless. We got the rainbow pastel. Which again is kind of obnoxious. We got your name, tu nombre. That one doesn't work right. Rip. All right. So then we go over here. We go to, I said the applications menu. Well, there's an add-ons and themes menu. That's all we need. Themes. All right. So there's the colorway theme. I didn't like it. But we can go back here and go through. So we got animated stars at night. And how does that differ from purple night? Very similar. Purple night's just a lot more purple. We're going to go with animated stars at night. I lost it. There it is. It's a little darker. Yeah. And now we're set up. Over here, we've got a list of our tabs. We can search them, or we can make a new container tab. You can still bookmark. And then we can set up Pocket. So Pocket is literally just like an enhanced bookmark tool. I'm going to turn it on. I had it originally disabled. I'm going to turn it on. I'm surprised I don't have saves. I know I used this at some point. It must have been a different account. Well, basically, it's just a way to help find articles, recipes, things like that that you would want to save. Kind of like the old StumbleUpon days. I was just asking on Mastodon about getting a replacement for StumbleUpon because I miss those days of just getting recommended good websites and not user-generated content. And so that's what this is. And I will explore this later. Like I said, we could do a whole separate video on it after I get some impressions if you'd like, but this is FireFox. This is probably where I'm using the internet for a while. For everything else on the internet, you can add me on Mastodon. I'm at EposVox at glitch.lgbt. And of course, you can find all of my links to everywhere I am on the internet at my new homepage, EposVox.com. Yes, it's intentionally Y2K cringe. Hope you enjoyed this video. Like I said, the discussion on the Brave video was like super great. And so I want to, why did I open Blender? I want to keep that going, explore more browsers, talk about owning your experience and browser security and blah, blah, blah. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Remember to be kind, rewind.